Almighty God, ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen.
By Senator Banigoe Palibo Harry, Senator Adebule Idiatolunroti, Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduahan, Senator Dandutse Mutari Mohammed, Senator Mohammed Adamu Ailero, Senator Oyewumi Kamarudin Olalere, Senator Ekpenyong Asukwo, Senator Ibisagba Emmanuel Olajide, Senator Diket Blank, Senator Ali Wadada, Senator Katung Sunday Marshall, Senator David S. Eugene Kuta, Senator Umar Shehu Buba, Senator Fasiu Cyril Oluwole, Senator Tony Woye, and Senator Issa Shaulao. The Senate notes that on December 20th, 1993, the United States General Assembly adopted the Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women in its Resolution 48/104. Thus paving the way towards eradication of violence against women and girls worldwide. On the 7th of February 2000, November 25th was officially designated as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. This therefore became a rallying point for governments, international organizations, as well as NGOs to come together and organize activities aimed at raising public awareness of the issue every year. This year, the day has the theme, Unite, Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls. Women's rights activists have before now observed 25th of November as a day against gender-based violence since 1981. This day was selected to honor the Mirabel sisters, 3 political activists from the Dominican Republic who were brutally murdered in 1960. Despite the foregoing and earlier adoption of the Convention of Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women by the UN General Assembly in 1979, violence against women and girls remains a pervasive problem worldwide. Further notes that one of the aims of the day is to bring to the fore the violence against women and girls, which is widespread and systemic, violation of fundamental human rights, and enduring form of gender-based violence. Women are vulnerable and at risk, enduring emotional, psychological trauma through harassment, terror, threats, intimidation, degradation, exploitation, and physical abuse. Aware that the day is also known as Orange Day because the color orange is widely recognized by the UN Women to symbolize a future without violence against women. It is a day marked to create awareness of the different types of violence faced by women, promoting advocacy and creating better opportunities for women. This is an issue that transcends national boundaries and cultures. Further aware that the global theme of this year's unite to invest to prevent violence against women and girls, which emphasizes the need for funding, prevention strategies to proactively stop gender-based violence. In every clime, more action is needed to ensure women in all their diversity live free of violence and coercion. This moment provides an opportunity to reflect on the progress made in tackling the global scourge of violence against women and girls in all forms, as well as call to action to redouble international and national effort to eradicate such crimes. In Nigeria, Orange Nigeria seeks to empower individuals to stand against violence by fostering open conversation in collaboration with the National Gender-Based Violence Data Situation Room and Dashboard, launched in November 2020 by the federal government of Nigeria and the UNDP EU-UN. Since the launch of the National Gender-Based Data Room and Dashboard, over 28,000 cases of gender-based violence have been reported nationwide. In all these reported cases, over 9,000 have been opened against offenders, while over 8,000 are still pending in various courts, as over 1,800 cases have been withdrawn, either by the courts, community intervention, family and victims that have become afraid or intimidated to withdraw the case. The number of convictions are only 455, and sadly, the number of fatalities from GBV are over 1,250. While there are lots of cases, the fatalities and the cases are high, many cases.
Very distinguished.
Co-sponsored by 16 other senators. Nigerian women, just like women across Africa and the world, have suffered greatly, not only in the hands of our fellow men, but sometimes even women, sometimes even in organizations where we work, and therefore I'd lend my voice in calling for a stop in all form of violence against girls, children, schools, workplaces, and also ask that all the agencies that are responsible in mitigating this floor step up in their responsibilities so that our women will have a safe place to live and thrive. I so submit. Thank you.
Motion, and I appreciate Distinguished Senator Kingibe and all those who co-sponsored this bill. I'd like to add, Mr. President, that this is not a matter for women. It's a matter for all of us who are children of women. Without women, none of us will be on these chambers. And I think the issues of violence goes beyond physical violence. In trying to understand why women are victims of violence, we have to look at the economic root and the social root of it. There are some of our cultural habits that are unhelpful, and we need to carry this campaign beyond the bounds of the elite and take it down to the rural area, where I believe a lot of people are brutalized in silence, and the police are unable to intervene. I think we need to review the laws that have to do with violence against women and stipulate stiff penalties and encourage the law enforcement agencies to enforce any reported case of violence against women. I have two lovely daughters. There is no evidence that they are inferior to my sons. And in a world that is knowledge-driven, it is in our latin self-interest to protect our girls and our women that constitute about 50% of our population. In addition, as politicians, we also know that most of us in this room, about 70 to 60% of those who voted for us are women. The men can collect the money and take by one on an election day, while you see the women queuing under sun and rain with children on their back to vote so that we can be in these chambers. I think we will just bring justice to the foundation of our own, of our system, by not only passing motions like the UN is doing without teeth to bite. We should pass laws with appropriate tools and encourage the police to enforce those laws and prosecute and provide appropriate sanction. I was scandalized when I was a governor. I discovered that the penalty for rape was so minimal that was more or less an incentive. And even the penalty for defilement was, for me, laughable. That you wonder if it is worth the time we spend in prosecution. I think the country needs to review all of those laws and the sanction that must go with it, until we begin to find people who are responsible in prison, languishing in jail for several years. Words alone will not change. People are not acting out of violence. I know from my life experience that sermonizing alone will change the mind of those who think it is their birthright to oppress. So I will suggest, when we get to the motion, going forward at the long run, that we should also look at the economic dimension and the social dimension that make men feel that if they beat you up, you run away, they can go and marry another woman. And even if you have toyed with this man for 20 years, 30 years, and you marry the man with no bank account, and later he becomes a senator, he can beat up his wife, drive him out of the house, and the woman will go without nothing. Those, for me, are the real economic issues.
Please give a better example. Give a better example. There is no case of any senator beating the wife or beating children, or raping girls. So just give a better example all around the world.
Sure, a senator. But I will put my hands on the Bible to say there have been such cases of a senator beating up a woman. And it was reported, and it was talked about. The man didn't go to jail. He was asked to pay some.
Distinguished Senator Shumole, repeat that aspect of my special interest, please. Use your mic.
Mr. Senate President, you are an example of a leader who protects his wife and protects your daughters, because it must start from home. You have a record of showing love to your daughters and your wife. And for me, that is inspiring. If all of us do that, another Nigeria do that at home, in all the places in Akwa Ibom, and in all the villages in Edo State, we won't have the kind of problem that Senator Kingibe is trying to talk about. But I don't want us to reduce it to a joke. I really believe that we need to look at all the ramifications of economic, social, and physical violence against women. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let me thank distinguished Senator example. And then the example you give of the Senate President who has continuously shown love to women, who has shown love to his wife, his daughters, and any female gender children that come across him, is very apt in this occasion. And you have also posited that if all were to do the same, that the violence against women and the girl child will be eliminated. Distinguished Senator Plank, maybe you want to add your voice.
Rise again to second and support in its totality this motion raised by distinguished Senator Ireti. Sir, even in our holy books, when God created man, he said, it is not enough. Let me make him a helper and a comforter. And he created woman. And I believe that a woman being God's creation, there is a speciality in a woman. And I feel that we're looking for an opportunity for us to exploit and maximize the talent, the purpose of which women are created. So I feel, just as all other supporters of this motion have said, we need to create more avenues for women to be able to find a ground to put into maximization of the talent given to them. And I feel that even as we are looking at it from the economic point of view, we should look at it from even the educational point of view. Your Excellency, my colleagues, through the privileges of being a senator, I had an opportunity of going for a parliamentary tour in Rwanda. And I see the Rwanda's administration giving specific positions, even for women at the parliamentary position. And I see women given an opportunity to be ministers. And I see a lot of nationalism, patriotism in them. I feel that if our laws are made in such a way that these God's special creation are giving opportunities, definitely we will be able to get the advantages, the talent, the endowment that God himself has put into women. And to conclude, I would like to support what His Excellency said, sir. It is very true that our women would meet with your wives, sir. And honestly, I think you have a good home. And I think your wife is a leader. There's a lot of guide. We feel very balanced because our women are well guided by your wife as leader of the Women Parliamentary. Sir, I want to assure you that if all of us give opportunity at our various constituencies for the women, Nigeria will see a lot of development. I support in totality. Thank you.
I thank you for the accolades. For the accolades you have already poured on her. I'm not there when she has her meetings with the wives of senators, but from the report you are getting from your dear wife, she seems to be guiding them right. May God continue to bless her and grant her more wisdom to lead the Senators' Wives Association. Very distinguished Senator Ningi, you want to add your voice?
About your state. Let me join others in contributing to this very momentous motion. The 1993 United General Assembly on the positive affirmation against gender sensitive completely aligns with the principles of my religion, Islam. It is imperative that in the Quran, a whole chapter was dedicated to a woman, and the chapter is Nisa, and Nisa means woman. That underscores the importance of a woman in the creation of the world. When you talked about woman, you talked about your foundation. You go back to the basis. And when you talked about woman, what comes to your mind promptly, first and foremost, is your mother. And there is no alternative, there is no better person than your own mother. And in fact, Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was asked by his followers, so after God and the prophet, who is most honorable? Prophet said, your mother. And they asked the prophet again, who is next? Prophet said, your mother. They asked him again, after her, who is next? He said, your mother. And it is the first time he said, honor your father. That underscores the importance of a woman, particularly in Islamic religion. So what happens is that we relegate women intentionally. The Christian doctrine, the Islamic doctrine, has sufficiently given us reason why we must respect women and accord them the respect they deserve under our two religions. But by and large, over the years, because of one issue or the other, we have not been able to tailor our minds to it. The United Nations Day brings about orange. Orange means free violence or no violence. And over the years, we have seen when violence continuously perpetuated against the girl child, against a woman, the way they got divorced, the way they are discarded after marriage, the way they are discarded just for the sake that they have too many children, even though the man gave them the children. So at this point, like Senator Oshimole said, I think we should go beyond the rhetorics. We should go beyond the rhetoric and try to find our adequate laws that will sufficiently cover some of the gaps in our society. But before I raise my case, sir, it is always important. It takes two to tango. The women folk also must, at every given time, know their position in society, know their responsibility, and they must not carry themselves as if they are a commodity. Women must never give in to this assertion that they are a commodity that can be used and discarded at every given whims and caprices. And therefore, I challenge you men, as they listen, to also rise to the occasion. They are human beings like every other of us. And therefore, they must not allow themselves to play second fiddle. They are not second fiddle. They are the important foundation of every human society. So we must accord them the respect. And I thank Erite and Senator Padaosi for giving me some tips what to say. I'm sure the next speaker will be him. So, Mr. Senate President, thank you very much for calling me.
Doctor, sitting in front of King Doc, in your practice of medicine, you've seen a lot of violence against the girl, child, and women. Would you like to add your voice?
Let me first of all thank Senator Erite for bringing this up, even though I noticed my distinguished colleagues are digressing from the main issue. I think the main issue is about violence against women, which includes, and is not only limited to raping. Rape is just one of them. However, we in the medical side, I think this is part of the mental illnesses that we generally fail to consider in this country. We have issue, and I think the last time the Honorable Minister was here, he raised it, that our mental diseases are not being given adequate attention. Rape and pedophilia, what we call pedophilia, is people that are particularly, they only get their sexual desire quenched if they are only attracted to small children. Just like we have what we call gerontophilia, where men that can only be aroused by very old women, very old women. We do have also other forms of sexual diseases, like even necrophilia. So what I'm just going to say here is, this is part of our gamut of issues concerning our mental health and mental health preparedness, and so many issues regarding that. That is on the side of medical that you want me to say little about. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished Senator, elements that could lead to this violence against women and the girl child. But the last one you mentioned ignited a passion in distinguished Senator Kau, and that is the aspect of necrophilia. So maybe, Senator Kawo, you can expatiate more on it.
Colleagues, although I will not go against the directive of the President of the Senate, but my own, Mr. President, is a little different with the way my dear colleague Ismail came with. Mr. President, recently, I think 2 or 3 months back, there was a bill, or very recently, it go through past reading by one of our colleagues from Ebonyi, our leader from Ebonyi. The main content or the intent of the bill is violence against women, more especially in the part of inheritance, where some part of the country using their traditional belief or culture to deprive their right. Quite all right, it appeared in this Senate almost 2 times. There was a bill similar to it. But some part of the country, more especially Muslim, are vehemently against the bill, not because they are supporting what is going on, but I want to put it clear for us to understand that Islam and Muslim from 1903, when colonial masters took over Sokoto Caliphate in March 1903, they allowed northern Nigeria, more especially, to continue with their system of Sharia, more especially in laws of inheritance, because they found out that it is very comprehensive and it protects the right of women. Therefore, I am urging our colleague, more especially those who want to know the perspective of Islam in the area of inheritance, more especially on the women, to read what Quran and various tradition and hadith of the Holy Prophet, and of course, our ulama said about it. Islam is vehemently against anything which deprive women their own right in inheritance. A lot has been said about on this area, and I am urging our colleague to come up with a formula, more especially in a state where they are not practicing the system of Islamic Sharia, to come up with law which will protect violation or violence against women in inheritance. As a good example, or the area where our colleague, which or Nigerian, will look into to see how Islam do justice to women is Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 11 and 12, and almost 3 chapters in the Holy Book. It gives a comprehensive position of Islam and Muslim on the laws of inheritance which protect women. Thank you, Mr.
That's why we're even using the muffler, that the violence against women and the girl child must be totally condemned by all and sundry. So let us go straight into the prayers. Prayer 1. Rise to observe a minute silence for all the fatalities of gender-based violence. Those in support of this prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Show solidarity with Nigerian women on this year's 16 days of advocacy for the elimination of violence against women. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. Empower women at all the 3 tiers of government to be self-sufficient, as many cases of violence against women in Nigeria are influenced by financial factors. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4. Urge the Nigerian Universities Commission to call on Nigerian universities to henceforth accommodate female students on campus to guard against abduction of women or abduction of female students that live off campus. Those in favor of prayer 4 say aye. Yes, amendment. To Senator Garba.
More hostels that will make it possible for all female students to be in the hostel. A lot of universities don't have hostels, and therefore, if we direct them to do it, they can't give what they don't have.
Okay.
Federal government can put in money there to accommodate girls in our university. It's not possible. It isn't possible. All right? It's not possible. The money is simply not there. The money is simply not there. So this prayer, or the Nigerian University Commission to call on Nigerian universities to henceforth accommodate. You are saying there should be a kind of, say, maybe to do more, right? And besides now, the number of private universities we have in this country are far more than government universities, public universities. We have one and something thousand, 100 government universities, whereas we have 200 and something private universities. So I think we should recouch this prayer so that we don't become a laughingstock before the public.
Urge the Federal Ministry of Education and the Nigerian Universities Commission to call on Nigerian universities to henceforth prioritize the issue of accommodation of female students on campus. Any seconder? Yeah, no, I'm saying, no, you did. So I'm asking for.
On behalf of the Senate President, cannot do that. I can't do that. I move the motion as crafted by the President of the Senate. Excuse me. I move the motion. I therefore move the motion.
Senator Biggie, after that, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The motion has been moved by the Deputy Senate President that we should urge the Federal Ministry of Education and the Nigerian Universities Commission to prioritize the issue of accommodating female students on campus to guard against abduction of female students that live off campus. And it has been seconded by distinguished Senator Biggie. Those who are in support of this prayer as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the 5, urge the Nigerian police force to strengthen the prosecution process of perpetrators of gender violence to pave way for the conviction. Yes, Senator Abamoro, you say you want to amend prayer 5.
But
It's actually prayer 5. This is Senator Nengi.
I just want the prayer to read as follows. Urge the Nigerian police.
By distinguished Senator Nengi as follows. Urge the Nigerian police force to strengthen the prosecution process of perpetrators of gender violence. Full stop. And seconded by distinguished Senator Ashiru. Those in support of prayer 5 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 6, urge the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to undertake a continuous review of the existing policies and laws on gender-based violence in order to accommodate best practices of gender-based violence strategies in tackling this scourge. Those in support of prayer 6 say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 7, mandate the Committee on Women Affairs and other relevant committees to put up national roadmap as highlighted in the Orange Nigeria Initiative. Those in favor of prayer 7 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, let me thank distinguished Senator Kinkibe for this motion and thank all the 16 other senators who have also appended their signatories to this all-important motion to invest to prevent violence against women and the girl child. I recall a situation where there was a musician with a fantastic voice in Nigeria that was killed, I think sometime last year, as a result of violence by the husband. And it was a terrible loss for such a talented woman. So may her soul rest in peace. I also want to plead with women that as we are supporting them, the entire chambers is yellow in support of women and the girl child, that we abhor violence against women in all ramifications, that women should also try not to violate the rights of men. Because I lived near somebody in Port Harcourt many years ago that the wife constantly beats the man. And the man used to cry and call on neighbors to come and assist him. So I know that those ones are in the minority. But please, as we protect the rights of women, we should also protect the rights of men. There are men who are suffering under their wives. There are many men who are groaning and nobody is listening to them because United Nations has not yet taken up the issue of violence against men. On that note, I thank all of us for your contributions and urge that God Almighty will give all of us the wisdom to protect the women and protect the girl child. May we rise to observe a minute silence in honor of those who have been brutally murdered as a result of violence against women and the girl child. May the souls of all women, children, and particularly female children who have lost their lives globally as a result of violence rest in peace.